Jen Evers with Quality Crafts, and welcome to another tutorial on a Sunday afternoon. So there's tutorials on my channel every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and also on Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I hope that you'll join me again sometime. And also on Wednesdays, I do a 10-minute card featuring an envelope that I have no idea what's in it. And I create a card in 10 minutes from whatever's in the contents from my subscribers. So I'm going to take a moment now to welcome and say hello. Hey, Dee, you got in early. Good for you. To people that have joined me from the Quality Crafts family and the people that are typically over at Quality Crafts on Facebook. So everyone's welcome to join there. It's a non-commitment, drama-free group where everyone is just inspired and inspires others. Now, today and Thursday, when I do the tutorial technique things, I'll go over to that group and I'll put up an album where you can put your makes in there to inspire others to start creating. And of course, there's always this video that you can fall back on if you don't remember how to do the technique. And you can join us over at the Quality Crafts blog, jensqualitycrafts.blogspot.com, and check out any of the measurements that you missed after the video. So let me just scroll back up. I'm sure I missed people. Jay Smith and Eva is here. Carlene and Judy, Julie, Alina, Donna. Hi, Penny. Hi, Kelly. Thank you guys for being here. Those who are here as we are live, if you're in the chat, if somebody is in blue, they are a moderator here. We're so glad to have them. Hi, Elise. Who else am I missing? Linda, hey. And Dee got in early. Good for you, Dee. Alrighty, so typically, if you're unfamiliar with my channel, I say that we start at 2 p.m., but I literally start the project at 2:05. I've had too many people say that they needed time to get in, or they couldn't find me, or something like that, and they really wanted the experience of being live and not being behind in the project, because many of the people that come in like to create the projects along with me. So if you're watching this archived, you can be like, I don't need to listen to all this. You could just fast forward, take that little button and toggle it to exactly where that project starts, and you can just skip all this. Hi, Tamitha's here, and Teresa, Linda. Looks like we've got a newbie. If you're a newbie, put a little heart or emoticon in there so I know I can recognize who you are. We're making a purse out of a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Now, I know many people have done this before. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to create this using different supplies. This one right here is my favorite. It's the easiest one to do. And it just has a magnetic closure right here underneath this side and that side. And you can hear it works really well. So down in the description box below, I'll have most of the supplies you need listed as affiliate links through Amazon. So I do affiliate with Amazon so that I get a small commission to help keep my channel running, and hopefully eventually will become a full-time job for me, and I'll be here for you guys all the time. So this is a super cute one. This is really my favorite one. You can do the decorations however you want. I'm just going to show you the basics of getting this purse, the actual purse part together. The bending part of these is the tricky part, and even though I've made 4 of these already, it might take me a moment to figure out again how to do these for you guys. So if I falter a little bit, this is real crafting in real time. I don't make sure everything's perfect for, absolutely perfect. I just want you to know that everyone makes mistakes, even those of us who are teaching you. We all have room to grow. So I've done a whole bunch of these, and I'm going to show you. This one is my favorite, but then you can also do one like this, where I used a little bit of Velcro on the corners, and then I tried out these strips of magnet sheets from Aleene's, and if you listen, it does magnet together, but I originally put the Velcro on, so I ended up, there's just 2 things on here, and now my little piece is coming up. I'm going to re-glue that. If you want to do this one, I'll tell you the measurements that I used for my my oval. That's what I want to say. So if you want a little clutch, I'll tell you what the measurements of the oval are. I'm just going to hold this for a second so it dries. And then you can just grab onto it, and it's a little clutch bag. This is kind of the same thing. You just kind of hang on to it. I plan on gifting these. So to me, it doesn't matter what kind they are. this is one that is just put together with the same thing. It's got the, underneath here, it has the magnet. And this is one that's completely unchanged, undecorated, just has the closure. And it's still super cute all by itself. I wanted to show you guys that. So this is just one that I put together that, you know, if you use a double-sided paper, it's awesome. Here's another one that I did that I strung like little handles, little jute through the two little things. Let me just open this up here. Some of my tape is coming undone. Make sure that when you're doing this, oh, and before I figured out that I could put some really good magnets right here, I put 2 magnets on the side here and I hid them with some little dots. So if you've got different magnets, mine magnet together on the side and this one. And then the jute went underneath this piece that folds over. And I don't know if I'll have time to show you guys that. I'm going to show you the basics of putting this together first, and then we'll see how far we get to. Now, if you have double-sided sticky tape, I would recommend you use that in a lot of it so they don't fall apart. Like I said, this one was coming apart. I don't know if I used HCG tape. I would also recommend, if you don't have sticky tape, use a wet glue, because that's a lot more, it's probably going to hold a lot longer, a lot stronger. So this one's really cute too, and I just went ahead and used a tag from the paper collection to add it to it. It says Live Simply, and it's a double-sided from that same collection. So this one is just, I really, really enjoyed making this one with the bee and stuff. Oh, that's so cute. Have I tried making a bag using a gift box punch board? I don't have the gift box punch board, so I will have to say no. I've never tried that. I do have the envelope punch board, but I did a video not too long ago showing you guys how to make envelopes just using regular printer paper all on your own, so that you wouldn't have to purchase all the punch boards. But if you have the punch boards, there's a lot of really cool things you can do with them. I only own the one to make envelopes, and that's it. I love it. So this is the one that we're going to make today with the magnet closure right in the middle here. And you can choose to put this part underneath this top flap or over the top as I have. It doesn't really matter. If you like the finished look of that flap going over the top of everything and holding that down, you go ahead and do it that way. I'll probably end up doing it exactly this way. So I'd like to give you guys a chance. It's 2:05 and we're going to start right now. These are the 2 papers that I've picked out. The gold has a little bit of like a red flower, and the turquoise kind of has like raindrops on the inside. Which one of these would you guys like to see me do for the first purse? And I'm going to give you a second while I take a drink since I've been talking a lot. Welcome, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming. Hi, Mildred. Let's see. So if anyone's just coming in, I'm just going to put this up again so that you know what we're doing here today. And one thing is, whatever one you pick, whatever you want to be like upside, let me show you what I'm talking about. Like I wanted this bee pattern to be going face up here. And if you flip it over, if you notice, it's going upside down on this side. But if you want this to be going, if your pattern has to go a certain way, then when you start scoring, you want to make sure that that pattern is on the top here. On the top, okay? So the blue, okay, we're going to use the blue. Alrighty. Cool beans. I like this one. And then it'll have raindrops on the inside. So if you're working along with me, we're going to get started, and you're going to want your, I need to back out here so you guys can see it. There we go. You need a scoreboard for this, or if you don't have a scoreboard, use your stylus, like one of these, or your bone folder, and use your trimmer to make the lines. This is just a lot easier, so I highly recommend, if you're a newbie, to definitely get a scoreboard. You'll be using it a lot in card making and fancy fold and boxes and all that stuff. So let's get started. Our first side, and I'm going to use my cheater notes here because I don't have all this memorized. our first side here, so that we have this front, like right here, that's going to be the front of our bag. And that's, I just want to mention that again, in case you guys have a pattern that you're hoping that'll be the front of your purse. It'll be this right here. We're going to go ahead and do 2.5, a 2.5, and a 9.5. I'm just going to go over mine one more time. A 2.5 and a 9.5. Okay, and so that's going to be the front. You'll be able to see it a little bit better later. But anyway, 2.5 and 9.5. Then we're going to go ahead and turn it 90 degrees. We're going to do the rest of them. Now, remember, I'm just going to turn my back. This is the top front of your purse. That's the part that's going to the left, and we're going to make that flap that comes down at a 1/2 inch. So there's going to be a flap on both sides. So it's going to be 1/2 inch on this side, and then 5 and 7. That's for the bottom of the box. 5 and 7. And then 11.5, because that gives us the other 1/2 inch on the other side of the purse. 1/2, 5, 7, and 11.5. And that is it for scoring. I'm going to go ahead and give all of my score lines a good press with my bone folder. If it hasn't flown the coop. There it is. Before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and crease all my lines. Not only will this help me in putting my box together, because there's like a box part on the inside, but it will also help so that you guys can see where all my lines are a little bit more clear. Yes, don't forget, if you're going into our group over on Facebook, that as soon as you request to join, immediately pops up 3 questions. Now, I'm not sure about mobile phones. So if you don't answer those questions, we're going to send you a reminder. And if you still don't answer those questions, your request is just going to sit there until they get answered. And then eventually, after like, a day, we just delete it. And then you'll have to request to get in again. So please, please, please answer those questions so that we can make sure that you really are a person that wants to get in the group, that somebody didn't just add you against your will, because I know how people just love being added to groups without being asked. And I'm telling you, it still happens. So I will not add you if somebody else adds you unless you respond and let me know that you really want to be added. And that's a safety precaution for everybody in the group. I think it's just a really good idea. Now, here's the tricky part. This is the part where we need to do a little bit of tricky folding to get these to bend in. And if you look at it, we're taking this part right here on the end, okay? And we need to have a score line like right here. So we're taking this top part, okay, and we're bending it over to the side. This line right here, and we're bending it to the side. So this is how it goes, okay? I'm going to try to get this the easiest way to get it so that you know what I'm doing. Put your finger right where, this is the first fold line here, and bend this line to touch this line. And I'm poking right here so that it goes straight down. Okay? And then that's the part that you want to go ahead and burnish. Now, if you do it from this end, this line is going to this line. You're just going to fold it so that that line meets the other line. This is the only tricky part of this whole thing. So if you can get this, you're golden. I'm going to do the other 2 sides yet. Okay, so there's these two little lines here that make this little rectangle, and this line is going to go to this line. So if you turn it to the side, if this works for you, if you put your finger on this little angle here and you look at this little like backwards L, you're going to put this line to this line. I just put my finger there so that I know that that's the very corner. And make sure that my lines, if you're looking here, you should be able to see that these line up. I'm going to bend this down a little bit. Okay, so I took this line right here, this, if you're going from the edge where that little 1/2 inch is, you take this line here, put your finger here, and bend this to meet this other score line. That should line up right here. That's where you want it to line up. Then you can go from this corner here and crease out. Same on the other side. So here's our score line. Move it up a little bit. Okay, so here's on the other side, the little 1/2 inch. Here's our first score line, and here's our L. And we're just going to keep your finger there and push this one to go flat onto this one. The cat decided to plop herself down on top of the bag with the 3 rolls of double-sided tape I bought today. Oh boy. Now, oop, I gotta back out. Dun, dun. Some people decide that they want to cut off and trim some and some don't, but I just want to show you that this part, this is the part, this funky part with this like pointy part right here, this is the part that's going to get tape on it. And that's the part that's going to go flat down and be taped down, and then these folds are going to come up. Okay, I'm going to flip this over, I'm going to show you that again. These funny parts right here that have the little crooked, the little slanted side, so instead of being a full rectangle, they point right here. This is the part that's going to get the tape, because that's the part that's going to get stuck down, and then these are going to pop up, these corners right here. And that's going to create the box. Do you see where the tape is going to go on these ones that have that little rise here? Tape goes right here. On the other side, it goes right here, because those are going to go in, and that flap's going to come up. And on the other side too, that tape's going to go down, and then these flaps are going to come up. That's how it's going to create your box. So that's how it will come together. And then the tops will bend over the top, these 1/2 inch that we have, and then they'll come together like that. Now, if you don't want these bowing out, I just tuck these in and give them a little press. You can have them bowing out if you want. I like them tucked in. Okay. Before we do that, I like to trim my edges so that it's not so bulky when you have that purse together and you're putting this over. Do you see how these pieces, like, they start sticking out here? I just get rid of those, and it's just the 4 corners from here to the first fold line on either side. So we're going to go ahead and cut those right away. It's just that little 1/2 inch long skinny rectangle on each corner. Now, like I said, if you're using pattern paper or something really thin, this is cardstock weight. I'd say maybe like 65 pounds, if I had to guess. You might not need to or want to do this. Maybe you want it for sturdiness of your purse. I don't know. I've always made it with this heavier cardstock. I just think it makes a sturdier purse all around. But I like to cut these out so that it looks a lot nicer when it's done. You don't have any pieces sticking out. So then after you remove all of those, you're left with, you know, those little spaces on the end, right here and here. Okay. So we could go ahead and glue all this down, or you could glue on your magnets first, but I prefer to just glue these down. Now this whole panel right here, see where that's bent there? this whole panel could get tape on it. Or if you just wanted to save on sticky tape, you could put a piece of sticky tape right there and stick it down in a hole right here. I'm going to glue this whole panel with my wet glue because I want this to stay together. So this part is completely up to you, however you want to do this. Now again, if you want this part to go underneath this part, then you would do this part first. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it this time, this way this time. Because if I put these down first, then when I'm done, these will go over the top and it'll have a nice long finished edge to it. So that's completely up to you. You guys let me know if you're having problems seeing like where you should be putting the glue or whatever, if I need to put some black lines out here on the other side or something. And if you can't push this flap down, you might have to cut a little bit more off your top edges here. That's going to be hidden, so you could cut off as much there as you need to. And now I'm going to glue down on the other side. Make sure that you're following that crooked line and not doing the whole panel, because otherwise you'll have pieces and parts glued down that you need for your purse to function. So be careful about that. And the next step we're going to do is we're going to be using some magnets to do the magnet closure. And once you get one or two of these put together, they're going to seem like so easy. You're going to wonder how you never knew how to do this in the first place. Except for, you know, that little tricky folding part. That's the only part, but it makes the box on the inside of the purse so cool. You can put a lot of stuff in this. You could use it for giving out cookies and candy and stuff at Christmas time. So now once you get all four of those panels put down, you should be able to push it open. And the purse should open and close like that. Have fun with crafts. Dee, I might go ahead and fold and glue another one after we get this together, just so that people can see the process again. So don't give up. We'll go over it again. It's not hard to put together. It's just a matter of, you do need to watch and fold. And that's just how it is. But let's go ahead and put the little magnets in. Grab my magnet box up here. So if you've watched any of my other previous videos, you'll probably have seen me do this before. This one is a little bit simpler in the fact that I go ahead and put down a little bit of my embossing glue here. I don't keep a pin in this one, so sometimes I just have to reopen it. I linked below, I couldn't find this exact embossing stuff that I use, and the other stuff is sold by like Close to My Heart and Stampin' Up. So if you can't find this embossing liquid, I linked down below a different kind of glue, and it's just, I think it's just stickles. Just use your stickles for this. It's just some kind of a wet glue that you can put on there that'll hold it. And then a little bit of double-sided foam to keep it in place. And that's it. So a little bit of that wet glue to hold it down, and then a little bit of this double-sided foam on either side. And you wouldn't even have to do this if you don't want to. Don't put it too close to that because you want this to be able to bend over the top. So leave a little space between the edge here so that you have room to fold this completely over. Okay, and then I put a little bit more of that glue on top because I want that to stick to the paper. And then we're going to fold that over the top. Before I put that glue on though, almost forgot. We want to make sure that these magnets are going to line up. So I'm going to go ahead and color that with a black marker. Where's my black marker? This one will work. And very carefully put these together, and by lining up these papers from edge to edge to make sure they match up and touching that magnet to the other side, it leaves a little black mark so that you know where to put the other magnet. Now here's the other thing, you have to know which way this magnet is going to stick to that one. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to glue this one too. Last time I think I used double-sided sticky tape, but this time not where these two are, but from this side out. I'm going to go ahead and just add wet glue to this so that these don't come up. Now if you're going to add a handle at this point, this is where you stick the handle in. If you're going to make one that looks like this, you're going to stick the handle underneath this flap. You're going to stick that string underneath there and then fold that over the top. So at this point, you'd be sticking your string in right now. Right now. Okay? So there's your tip on that. If you're adding a string handle that goes underneath here, just want to make sure I got enough glue here. This is not going to come apart. And take my covers off of that. And then push the whole thing down. Now if you forgot to put your magnet mark, at this point you could put your magnet right on top of the other magnet, color that magnet, and then close it and make sure that it meets the mark. I'm just holding this down so that wet glue's got a good chance of grabbing on both of these sides so it doesn't let go. And that way it looks really nice and finished all through here. So like I said, we closed it and made sure that we knew that there was a black mark right here where to put that other magnet. If you don't remember where that was or you forgot, go ahead and put your other magnet on here. Color this magnet and then go ahead and close it again. But this time you're going to have to line up these two lines. Don't go all the way up to the top here. Do those two lines so that you get that same placement. So since I have that on there, I know which side to put the glue on. I'm going to put my little glue down and I'm going to make sure that I flip this over so that I'm putting the glue on the right side of the magnet so they stick together once this is all put together. Make sure that you don't put it too close to that paper line. You want to be able to have some room to fold that over. And then add your two little pieces of your foam adhesive. Like I said, if you want to skip the foam adhesive and just put something around it, I just think this looks really finished with the foam. It helps keep that magnet in place. And that way you're not seeing the rounded magnet, although if that doesn't matter to you, then you can just skip that part. And now on this side. Oh, Diane, if you're having storms, maybe you just want to come watch us later, hon. Don't put yourself in harm's way. And I'm going to do like I did the other side and put wet glue all the way down these sides because I want this to hold forever and ever. Amen. Don't glue here because you want that to be able to stick to these. And then go ahead and fold that flap over. If you have some of this paper that's going off the edge, you can go ahead and trim that at this point. Do you see what I mean? Like it makes a little bump here because of the foam that you don't actually see the magnet there. It's a good way to hide it. Sticky tape and glue on top. That's a good idea. Anything to keep it from falling apart, right? I find my 12 by 12 double-sided papers, typically at Joann's, and I wait for it to go on sale, and then I buy a whole container, or not a container, a whole packet of it. Let me just kind of, this is the one that I got recently. It's called Watercolor Garden. This is the one that we just pulled some from. And it's a 12 by 12, so the whole thing is filled with double-sided papers. Okay, so that's where I got my paper from. And I get them like that because then I know that they all match. So if I want to, you know, pick out a couple of pieces of paper out of there, I know that they're going to go well together because they're made to do that. Did I just lose my glue bottle on the floor or what? I found the pin. Well, that's odd. Maybe that was the one that I used to clean out that other jug. That had to be. All right, so we have that. Let's just test it out. Totally works. This side is kind of flailing open because we need to go ahead and give this a push in. Give this side a push in, and then you can go ahead and just kind of bend the top a little bit just so that this comes together more. And that's it. It's not going to come together perfectly at the edges, obviously, because our magnetic closure is right in the center. But like if you look on the one, this one, it bows out on the edges. I'm okay with that. If that bugs you, put a magnet underneath each one of the corners as well. So that's it. That's the whole, just putting that purse together. Now the thing that I did with the other one was I put a little banner, a little border across. Any kind of border punch that you have. I added a little bit of bling. Where's my big old line of bling I just had? It went flying when I grabbed my 12 by 12. This stuff, you can get this stuff in my store at qualitycrafts.com. It's just long, self-adhesive, and you just kind of pull it off of there. It's got this self-adhesive back, and you can just cut this with a scissors. So I am going to put a little bit of that on there, but let's see, what do we have on the inside? It's all teal. Let's pick another paper from that. Maybe that golden stuff that I just put back. We put a little bit of that on the outside, or maybe a little bit of, oh, that red would be pretty. Should we put a little bit of that red on the outside with a little bit of gold? It'd be kind of fallish colors. I'm going to go ahead and cut a little bit of this. Now, I know that Dee was a little bit frustrated because she missed out on whatever she was doing. She missed some of the directions on how to fold it. Is there anyone else that's crafting along today that would just really like to see me do this one more time, starting from the very beginning and going through how to put the purse together and scoring and everything? Let me know. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to go ahead and punch a border on this. I'm doing overkill because I'm doing the whole 12 inches. But that's just because I can. So we've got a whole border there. I'm just going to get rid of the scraps. And then I just have to decide if I start from here to here, how wide or how long do I want that to be? Like if I don't want it to be quite that long, I could cut some off the top at this point. But I am going to go over the top of it with some gold bling here. A couple of them. I think maybe I'll cut off about 1/4 of an inch. Just to make this a little bit shorter. Okay, so when I'm done doing this, then we'll go ahead and I'll put together one more purse for you guys. And then I'm just going to go ahead and measure about how far this should be. Give it a little bend and cut it off, because we can always trim this, so don't get too fussy about how short or long this is. And I'm going to use my sticky tape. Okay, I'm not just going to sticky tape one side of it or one piece of it. I'm going to sticky tape across the whole thing, because I just don't want things coming off. Yep, as soon as I get this on and we put a little bit of that gold on, I'm just going to go ahead. We got plenty of time to go back and show you again all the measurements and the scoring. And then I'll show you how to put it together one more time. And you can put this kind of stuff on before you glue your whole purse together too. That's completely up to you. If putting stuff on afterwards seems a little bit daunting to you, then just go ahead and decorate and stuff before you fold everything together. I just feel like this is easier for me, because then I can see right where everything ends as it's all put together, so I don't have to worry about that. And you can also decorate the other side. I'm just decorating one side because, you know, if people throw this away, I don't want to feel bad that they wasted, you know, everything that I put on there. And it looks like it should be the same as what I did on the other purse, which was right up to here. This was the same one I used. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it right there. And I'm going to use a row of 2. So then I'm going to come back down to the bottom and just cut up. And like I said, this is self-adhesive, so all you have to do is just cut where you want it to be. And if you've got a decent scissor like the one that I have, you can literally, if this goes off the edge, you can literally cut the gem in half too, if need be. So there's a clear little liner that comes off of there. And I'm going to try to make sure that I get this on all the way to the top and all the way to the edge, because last time I had some just kind of hanging off and it looked kind of funny. That looks pretty good. And then if you've got a little bit hanging over like I do here, you can literally cut that right through the gem and cut that off. Same on the other side, but that looks pretty close. So I'm just going to show you that. See, part of the gem just came off. I can't bring you up close because I turned off the darn auto feature because it just goes back and forth. Won't make everybody dizzy and sick. Okay. So there, other than punching a hole in it and adding a tag, which I did with this one, I just punched a hole right here, inside here, and just tied on a tag. Okay, you can do that. If you put your strings on the inside where we bent it over at the top, the string goes inside here, then you can go ahead and just cut a hole and put it on your string. If you forgot or you want it to be removable, you can do like what I did, and I just cut a slit right here. I just cut a slit going diagonal to the hole, and that way you can take it on and off without damaging it, and no one's any the wiser. So then it just goes back on there and just kind of closes up, and there you have it. And then they can remove that and re-gift it if they want. I love re-gifting. I mean, that's such a great idea. So let's go ahead and do this one more time. I'm going to go ahead and pull that pad of paper back out, and we'll pick a piece, maybe one that I haven't done already. So I've done a lot of these. How about if we do one that looks like almost all gold? That would be really, really pretty. Let's do this one. I gotta cut this last little piece off here because this is literally 12 by 12, but they leave this little space because that's where it's glued in the book, and you don't want this extra little piece on here because otherwise it's not true 12 by 12. So after I cut that off, then we should have a true 12 by 12. Let me just double check. Yep. All right, you ready? Those of you who wanted to see this done again, we're going to do this one more time. If you have a pattern paper where you have a certain pattern right here at the top, this is going to be the front of your purse that faces up and down. So make sure that you put that piece like right front and center here if you have a pattern that has to go a certain way. I'm going to re-show this again. Like I wanted this bee pattern going up and down with the be humble and the be yourself. Just know that when you do that, on the other side, it's going to be upside down. So one side is going to be the front of your purse. You want to keep that in mind if you're using a pattern that does that. And on this side, we're just going to do the 2 score marks at 2.5. Okay, 2.5 and 9.5. Oh, this is good because you can really see the score marks on this paper. 2.5 and 9.5. And then you're going to turn it 90 degrees. And we're going to do a 1/2 inch. This is where we're going to get those little 1/2 inch folds for the top of our purse. And 11.5. And the reason why I'm saying it this way is because now you know that 1/2 and 11.5, those are the 2 1/4 inches of the tops of and on the tops of our purse that fold over. And now we're going to do 2 in the middle that make the bottom of the purse, and that's 5 and 7. So in case that confused anybody, I'll go over these again. When you're first starting out, you're just going to go and do 2.5 and 9.5. Then you're going to turn it 90 degrees and do your 1/2 inch, your 5, your 7, and your 11.5. And that's it for scoring. Bye, Carly. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, and just in case anyone's stopping in, that's what we're doing today. And then I go ahead, and as soon as I'm done with that, I just make sure that all my folds are nice and creased, because when we go to make that boxy part, that little tricky part in the middle, we want to make sure that these are all creased well so that that goes well for us, goes smoothly. So go ahead and just take your time and fold over all those score lines, give them a good crease. Okay, and you don't have to do the tops, but I'm going to just because I'm doing them all. Okay, and my preference is to cut off all of the top, all of these right here, this little rectangle on all 4 corners. This is the part that's going to fold over, so I would recommend cutting to the right of the fold, just so that when you fold it over, that's not impeding anything. I love this gold foiling. Oh my gosh, I got all my foils in the mail yesterday, and then it was like a Grand Central Station in here. Like everybody called me on the phone and everybody wanted my attention all at the same time, and so I basically didn't even get to touch my foils yesterday. So maybe today we're just cutting off all 4 of these corner rectangles, the little ones, skinny ones. So when you're done, you should have something that looks like this. These little corner rectangles have been chopped off because we won't need those later. I don't think really the bone folders make a huge deal. I like this one. Okay, I'm just going to say this. Don't get a plastic one. Get an actual bone folder. If it's an actual bone folder, you'll have no problems with it. If you get a plastic one, every time you go through, I wish I had my little one. Do I have it handy where I can show you? I don't see it. I don't know what happened to it. But it has a plastic one that comes with it. And the more you score, the more this tip just wears down, and eventually you don't have a tip on the plastic thing anymore. So just if you're going to get one, I recommend highly getting a bone folder that's actually made out of bone. Okay, so that's what this is. They're not expensive at all. A lot of them that I've linked in my videos, you can get a two-for. So you get one that looks like this, and then you get one that's got like this fancy curve in it. So it doesn't really matter. All right, so here's the tricky part. And I think it's going to be hard to see on this leaf. But our purse is going to close like this. And we need to make these little bends here. Okay, we need to make these little cross bend marks, all right? And that's what we're doing right now. We're working with this rectangle right here in the center. There's one off to the right, one off to the right, and one off to the left. Same at this end. There's a rectangle in the middle, and then there's one off to the right and to the left. What is my issue? So this rectangle right here, this is the one that we're using to do the bends. Okay, pay attention to this part. This is the trickiest part. And if you get this, you're going to feel like $1,000,000 and you're always going to remember how to do it. Put your finger right here on this Criss. Maybe I should draw it with a pen so you guys can see it better. We're looking at this cross mark right here on these sides of, okay? I'll bring you in a little bit too. Okay, we're looking at this rectangle right here, right where it crisscrosses. And we're using this line to fold over to this line. So we're going to fold this over until that line perfectly meets that other score line. And then we're going to go ahead and just give this, do you see how this line meets the score line right here? And then we're going to give this a press. Make sure you use your bone folder. You want this to be nice and smooth. Okay, and then we're going to do it to the other side. So we're going to use this crisscross right here, and we're going to move this line over to this line. So if you put your finger on that cross and you pick up this line to push it over to the other line and make sure that they line up straight across here. This is important. You want this to line up straight across with that one. And when it does, then you go ahead and push down this corner right here with your bone folder. Okay, we're going to do this on the other side. Here are our two little X's. Okay, and we're going to take this short one and we're going to push it so it meets this one. So if you need to put your finger on that, you can, but you're pushing this line to meet this line. Those two lines need to kiss. They need to touch. Make sure that you're pushing that in so that they absolutely match. This line matches. Because if that line matches, then your line right here is going to be perfect and everything's going to fold together beautifully. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. So here's our X. We're going to make this line touch this line. So if you put your finger on that one, that'll help make sure that it bends in the right way. Push that all the way over until that line meets this one straight across. And when it matches, then you go ahead and fold down this triangle right there. I'm glad we redid this. I think that was much clearer than the first time I explained it. So then these, when I back out here, these funny sides here that have this long, instead of being a triangle, it goes up and then makes a point and comes back down. Those are the parts that are actually going to glue down. See where this part right here is all going to glue down, and then this part's going to come up. Like that. Okay, so we're going to put glue right here, and that part's going to glue down, and then as we fold this up, these should come out. Okay, I'm going to show you on the other side. We're going to put glue right here, if I mark out these lines, you'll see this funky shape. Okay. See this funny shape right here that's got that long nose cone? This is where you're going to put all your glue on both sides, this side and this side, and you're going to fold it over and glue those down right here. And then this part's going to come up. So when you pull these sides up, make sure you push those out so that that comes up. Okay? So now let's go ahead and add glue and actually do that. Now, if you want these to go, if you want to put your magnet right here and put your closure down and put these over the top, you can. If you want to wait, glue these first, okay? Then put your magnet down and glue the whole thing over the top. Then you get this nice clean look. Totally up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and glue first. Like I said, remember the shape that you're gluing on so you don't put glue where it shouldn't be. And then, you know, after we're done actually putting the purse together, it's just a matter of you decorating from your stash and your style. So you don't need me for that. You need you for that. So you go ahead and put on whatever you want on the outside of your purse. If you want tags or if you want some big bold flowers that you've created or whatever, because this is kind of like a hand to somebody kind of gift. So you can make it as big or as bold or as 3D or whatever you want it to be. Remember, we're only putting glue into this pointy part, not onto this triangle, because that's got to be able to move. Be careful where you're gluing. You can also use double-sided sticky tape or whatever you want. I just feel like if I use wet glue, it's not going to come apart on me. That's why I'm using it. If you have to mark your pieces while you're getting to know how to make this with a black marker to know where to put your glue, then do that. Ain't no shame in that game. As long as your project gets put together the right way, right? Okay, so remember the glue's only going down this part, not on the triangle, because those need to move. This is so pretty. I love this. The scoreboard that I use is a Martha Stewart scoreboard. Little Martha Stewart brand right here. Any of the scoreboards work really well. I believe I have one linked in the description box below if you want to go and take a look at that. So let's try to do this one with the other magnet closure, because you could use these little round Velcro hooks and put those at the top. One in the middle or two on the sides or three across or whatever you want. You could also use this Eileen's, what does she call it? She calls it they're tacky magnetic sheets. These are also linked below if you want this stuff. I feel like this doesn't hold as well, but you have to make sure you put this on the outside. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and glue these down. And I'm going to use my double-sided sticky tape. I should probably just use darn wet glue, but I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to put on two, it's a 1/4 of an inch thick, so I should be able to put on 2 of them since there's a 1/2 inch here. How much time we got? Oh, we're doing okay. Should be able to just put this together and wrap up. And you just fold it over, that's it. I love how that just makes it look really finished and professional, like you bought it at a store or something. Pretty awesome. Hey, coming up on the 22nd is, I hope to remember to put out an announcement. I'm doing a collab for a back to school project that is totally cute. I'd show it to you, but it would ruin the surprise. you want to join me for that. It's a hop, but there's only 3 of us. And there's $50 worth of prizes, so you're going to want to get in on that one. It will be on my channel, and then all you have to do is just go in the description box and go over to the other 2 ladies' channels and subscribe to all 3 of us. Make a nice, lovely comment on each one, and you'll be in the drawing for that $50 prize. There's like a planner, and oh look, some of the gold is coming off. There's a free planner, and what else? Gosh, I can't even think of it. But anyway, $50 worth of stuff. Really cool things. So now that we got those glued down, we're just going to push our purse together. This part's going to come at the top. Do you see how they bow out on the sides? If you want those to go in, just give it a push. Okay. Both sides. And then I like to just give my top part a little bend back and forth. So that gives the paper the ability to touch at the top, especially if I'm going to try to put that magnet on here. Okay, you finally got it folded, but the glue is taking a little longer to dry. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that it's working out for you, Dee. I'm going to try to use this magnet across here, and I'm going to use the whole darn strip because this is not super strong magnet. And I'm not even going to use something to help me cut this. I'm just going to freehand it. And then I'm just going to put this on top here and try to match it. I just feel like it's not worth it to me to try to get the big trimmer out or try to get this perfect because I don't think it matters anyway. This is not like, it doesn't go together like super, super perfectly. You got like a little bit off of one end, a little bit off the other end, you know what I'm saying? So if I try to push this together, it does stick together. But it's not exact. I don't care about that part. So I'm just going to go ahead, and this is self-adhesive, which is really cool. But if you don't trust that adhesive, use your own. And then I'm going to try to center this on one side of the purse here. And I'm just going to make sure that it's not going over the top of the purse. Like, I don't mind if it goes a little bit down. You know, you just don't want it to go over the top of the purse here. And then I'm going to push that down. Then I'm going to go ahead and remove the sticky back of that layer and close the purse. And make sure those edges come together nicely. And give that a push. And hopefully this will work out really well. Yep. Awesome. Ta-da! And this would be the time where if you wanted to do the clutch, like this one, if you wanted that hole in there so you could hang on to it, that all I did was literally freehanded my own oval because I didn't have one that was small enough to go on the purse from any of my templates. And I was too lazy to look for one online and cut it with my machine. So I freehanded this, and I'm just going to let you know about how big this is. It's approximately 2 3/4 wide, or almost about 3 inches wide by 1 1/4 inches. So like 3 inches, 3 inches wide by about 1 1/4 inches this way. And so what I would do is just freehand one until you get it about the size that you want. And then use some washi tape or something that's not super sticky, that's not going to damage your purse, to hold that on and trace it and then cut it out. And then you have to put both sides together so that you can see through the hole to trace the next one so that they're even on both sides, and then you'll have a clutch. This one is really, really fun. All right, so that kind of concludes our time there. We went through most of it. We got 2 of them put together. So let me do the little wrap up so we can see what we've created today and what your other options are in case you want to re-watch the video and make some of your own. All the supplies and the things that you need for the project are affiliate linked through Amazon in the description box below, just so you know. I make a little bit of a commission off if you use any of my links. Also, if you go in through any of my Amazon links and you just happen to buy like underwear for your husband or toys for your kids, it doesn't have to be anything crafty. It'll all go towards it as long as you went in through one of my links. So I really thank you guys so much for using those. I really appreciate that. So here was the one that I originally set out that this is my favorite. I think it's stunning. It has the closure, the magnet closure in the middle. And when I did mine, I did the magnet closure first, and then I put these on the outside, and I still think that looks just fine. We today put this part over the top of the whole thing, but I think this one is just darling. I went ahead and drew my own bee. He'll probably end up in the shop at some point, but he's not in there right now, but the happy bee I hand drew. And then the clutch one, where we just took a oval and I just hand cut it right out of there. And then when you're folding over the top, before you fold over the top, if you put your string underneath there and fold it over, you can make your own handles. So then you'd have one that looks something like this one. And we talked about tags and how you can make your own tag that'll go on there. If you put a little hole here and cut a slit in the side, you'll be able to put that on anywhere that you want to put it on. And it won't come off unless you pull on it. And that way they can take the tag off if you've written on it and they can re-gift it if they want. Here's one that I put together ahead of time. And this pattern had this flower stuff all the way around the edge. Hence why it looks upside down no matter which way you look at it. But this is also one that had the magnet closure right in the middle. And then the one that we created right before that during the live stream today is this one. And we put this part all the way over the top. Now this is holding a lot better than the other one did, because I used wet glue on this one. I really like the look of that one. We added a little bit of a red and a gold, what do you call that? Embellishment, I guess you'd say. So I could add a tag on here. I could put like a little floral, whatever I want to do with that, and personalize it. Maybe I want to put somebody's name on the bottom in gold using my gold new gold foil. I could put their name on the bottom. That would be super cool. And the last one we did was this super shiny one. Oh, I feel like this project was a little intense, like I wasn't as funny as I normally am, but these turn out super awesome. And look, now I've got what, 6 of them to give away to coworkers at work, and put like little candies and little notes and stuff, and I think they're gonna totally love them. And anybody that you give one to, I think, would totally love it. So go ahead now at the end here, jump on over to the Quality Crafts Facebook group. I'm going to put up an album so that you can put your makes in there so that we can see what you guys created using this technique. And then we can inspire one another through that. And then also, it's a non-commitment, non-drama group, so join in. Don't forget to answer all 3 of the questions, or at least one of them, so that we know that you're not a bot and that you truly do want to be entered into the group. We'll get you in as quick as we can. You can always support the channel by watching, commenting, doing a one-time pledge through the super chat while we're doing Anytime Live, joining us on Patreon and doing a pledge to any tier level there, or doing a one-time pledge gift through PayPal is always accepted as well. While I'm saying that, that is not necessary for you guys to see my videos. This YouTube channel obviously is, always has been, always will be free to all of you guys to use and enjoy, as well as the Facebook group. Now, if you join us on Patreon, that'll put you into an exclusive private group where we do more contests and you have a little bit more say about what the content is on my channel and stuff like that. And that's the perk that you get for being a patron and pledging to the passion on my channel for reaching everybody from beginner all the way through advanced, to make sure that you're successful in your crafts and that you feel good about what you're doing and you're advancing and that you're doing things that you love and that are fun. I want to say thank you right now, as long as I'm bringing that up, to my my patron group. Deborah Miller is our VIP patron. She pledges either $15 or more. And then we've got some newbies. We've got Deb, Julie, Sharon, Ginger, Stephanie, Heather, Michelle, Jill, Sherry, Cindy, and Hadassah. So thank you guys so much for being a part of the awesome patron group. Don't forget to go over to qualitycrafts.com and check out all the stuff that I've got going on there. We've got a new release coming out very soon called Frightful Fall. So there'll be some fall digis in there as well as some Halloween style digis. And I think that one's going to be super fun. Some of the things that people have created already using them as promo materials is just, it blows me away every time you guys create with them. It is just fabulous. I can't wait for you guys to see that. And I also cannot wait to see you guys next video.